Okay, on to the last couple of pages, page 16 now. And up here, the question is draw a well-labelled diagram of the water cycle. At this moment, please do not annoy your family by starting to sing the water cycle song or the water cycle rap. Just get on with a decent labelled diagram. This is a pretty basic one I've done here. Evaporation from the oceans, condensation, moving over, that's actually called evection, that phase of the clouds moving over the land. Precipitation from the clouds. Once the water lands, it has a choice. It either infiltrates, infiltration into the ground, or it flows over the surface, surface runoff. In the rocks, the water may pass through the rocks with through flow. And then we have the nice trees here with a bit of transpiration, can be called evapotranspiration, and interception, cutting out the water before it strikes the ground. Next question. What is the difference between evaporation and precipitation? Well, they're completely different. Evaporation is when liquid turns to vapour, and precipitation is when liquid in any of its forms falls from the sky. Hail, rain, snow and sleet. 2.17. Select any two of the following and explain how they may affect local weather conditions. I've done all four because I'm very keen. Mountains, well, they are cooler and wetter. They might protect you from the winds, and also they might create rain shadows. So in many, many ways mountains affect. Aspect is the direction you're facing. If you're south facing, it is likely to be warmer, brighter, and drier. Nice south facing gardens, what you want. However, north facing is darker and colder, damper. But artists like it because the lines are much clearer, apparently. Not that I'm much of an artist, but anyway. So for the coast, well, you always pile down. On a hot summer's day, we go to the coast for the cool sea breeze. So it has cooling effects in the summer. In the winter, it's the opposite, actually, and the water which can maintain its heat for longer. So it has a nice warming effect in the winter. It's often more windy on the coast as well because there's less friction by trees and buildings slowing the winds down. Forests, well, I wouldn't choose this as an example, but basically forests are very humid places. There's a lot of moisture given off by the leaves, so they're very damp. And they provide shade and shelter, so they're cool and little winds because they're protected. Towns, very interesting their towns are because they absorb all the heat on the concrete buildings and the tarmac roads. So urban heat, it's known as. And also buildings give off heat. Oh, I can't believe I'm low battery already. Give off heat because of... Sorry, I've thrown it. Where's my battery? I've got a spare battery pack. I'll just go and get that. Hang on. Because the humans, we put radiators and everything, so we heat buildings up. Right, I've got my battery pack here now, so I'm just attaching that. There we go. Let's click that. Hopefully that'll start charging the phone. I don't know if that's working. Anyway, I better crack on a bit quicker then. Okay. The influence on the British climate, a location 56 degrees north. Well, because we're a long way north, we're never that hot. Out of the 200 countries in the world, 190 are closer to the equator than us. So that's why we're never that hot. The Gulf Stream, North Atlantic Drift, it keeps us warm in winter. It flows in here, and keeps the west of Britain much milder in winter. Well, it keeps all of us mild. In other latitudes of our height, the seas are frozen over. So the Gulf Stream has a warming effect in winter, but no effect in summer. The diagram below shows air of the UK. Match the letters A to D. Well, here are the answers. You can just have A is the top one, D, B, and C. Okay, mild summers in the north, warm in the south, and dry in the east, wet in the west. Pretty easy to do that. A bit nervous of my battery running out, so I'm cracking on. And here we see the January temperature. This is a great picture. And it's all the temperature range. You see these are the isotherms, 7, 6, 5, 4. And basically temperature gets less as you go in a northeasterly direction. And it's purely down to the Gulf Stream. Why is snow most likely to be found in the areas shown on the map? Well, it's cooler, higher latitude, and also higher altitude. The Grampians, that's this area of Scotland. Away from the sea, so that's many reasons I've given you there. Aviemore our top ski centre, don't know if anyone's been there. What does a thick arrow in the southwest corner of the map represent? Well, that's a gimme mark, isn't it? Because it gives you the answer. Gulf Stream. How are the isotherms differ if the map was showing July? Well, come July, it's the latitude which has the greatest effect. And so that number that gets warm as you go south. So this could be like 17 degrees, 16, 15, 14. So in summer, in British Isles, latitude has the greatest effect. In winter, it is the Gulf Stream. 3 stores in the water cycle. Wherever the water is stored, in the ocean, in the clouds. I heard an interesting fact that apparently there's more water in the clouds above the Amazon rainforest than in the rivers itself. So clouds store a lot of water. In the rocks, when the water goes into the rocks for infiltration, whenever you go in a cave, it's always wet and dribbly. Snow and ice. Nearly 99% of all fresh water is in Antarctica. Any snowfields or up on those mountains, that's water stored there. And lakes, rivers also store water, although in rivers it's moving. Okay, how does the distance from the sea affect the temperature? I think we've had this just recently, haven't we? In winter, the sea is warmer, so it is warmer, and the further you go, it's cooler. In summer, the reverse. In summer, the sea has a cooling effect, and the further away you go, the warmer it will be. Why are places closer to the equator hotter than places further away from the equator? As a general rule, I hasten to add. It's because the angular sun the rays strike directly on the equator, generating more heat. As you go away from the equator, the Earth's at an angle and the sun's rays are not as direct. Saying that, the hottest places are the deserts, which are but that's all to do with the cloud cover. Apart from latitude and proximity to the sea, name one other factor that affects temperature and explain how it influences. Well, I've chosen altitude because that's a nice, easy answer. So the higher you go, the cooler it is. And for every 1 degree, it's about 150. 1 degree less every 150 metres. Finally, why are urban areas hotter than rural? Because buildings absorb the heat and they also give off heat. So that concludes the revision. Here we are. Oh, not a very good picture there. Nice video library there. No additions to that at the moment. That concludes the revision section. And so what I'll be doing in the lessons ahead are covering some other revision topics. And I will also be giving a practice paper, which you can do over a lesson in a PR. And then we'll go through it in the following lessons. So there's plenty to keep yourselves busy and in the weeks ahead. And hopefully we'll be seeing you soon anyway. All the best. Bye.